Welcome back, folks. Live oak trees have started to drop their leaves. Plant pro Xander Caruso from Barton Springs Nursery says the timing is a little early and it's a good opportunity to educate people on the benefits of these leaves. So good morning, Xander.
Good morning.
We actually had planned this segment a couple weeks ago. I think I had gotten sick.
Yeah.
so maybe it's now on time.
It might be on time now.
Yes,
yeah.
but we still want to talk about what's happening with the live oak trees. It's, the first thing I think is allergies. So why do we care about them at all?
Well, so the leaves aren't the cause of allergies. That's the pollen when they go into bloom in spring. But the leaves are extremely beneficial. It's nature's mulch. It's the trees drop leaves on themselves essentially to mulch themselves in for water retention, for heat retention in the winter. And that is primarily what soil, especially in this part of the U.S., is. That's what soil is. It's broken down leaves over the course of a very long time. And that process can be sped along via composting. But there's a plethora of benefits in saving your leaves and keeping them in the garden.
Because the number one thing you see or do when you see like a very leafy lawn, right, is somebody raking them back up.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it's really good too if you rake them all up and you got these big bags. If you can shred them, that's a really great way to increase surface area on the leaf. There's a lot of beneficial bacteria and little insects that feed on those leaves and break them down even further, and basically turning them into soil. On top of, if you're able to stack a high layer of leaves, it's really good for the summer when we, need to retain water in the soil because we don't get a lot of it. It's a really good way to do that, and a free way. And they're honestly better than a lot of the commercial mulches that get sold because they take longer to break down. But for one, it's free. And for two, because they take a lot longer to break down, you don't have to replace it as often.
The fact that it would be free and annoying to you on your own front lawn, but actually better than something you can buy, that's crazy.
Precisely.
So soil improvement is one of the points that you made to me. So it's the breakdown of all of this great stuff, and it's enriching the soil by adding these little pieces back into it. What about preventing erosion?
Yeah, so it packs down. And it gets into, whether you have rocky soil or clay soil, eventually it breaks up and allows for water infiltration because it's creating air pockets as it breaks down and works its way in. And water infiltration is good. You want water to not run off of your lawn. You want it to go into your lawn, into your soil.
The little bit of rain that we do
get. Yes,
the
very little bit you want to hold on to.
Okay, and we've got on screen beneficial little critters and fungi that kind of pop up along the way.
Yeah, so there's a long storied history between fungi and plants that I won't get into entirely today, but they primarily feed off of dead organic material that's slowly breaking down. They're one of the primary things that break down. So if you've ever been in the woods, especially as like a kid, you lift up a log and you see it almost looks like spider webs, but not quite. It's just a big patch of white stuff going on. That's fungi, and that's breaking down and adding it back to the soil, as well as any nutrients they break down, they can actually attach themselves to the root systems of plants and give that nutrients to the plants, and in return, the fungus gets sugars. So it's a symbiotic relationship that's just good. So when you add leaves, you're feeding that area, you're feeding your lawn, you're feeding your trees and shrubs, essentially. And here's a good example right here, actually, of what. This is a leaf mold compost that we sell. So this is really, really wonderful compost I recommend for just about anybody who comes into the nursery.
To touch.
It's really nice. And so that's basically tons and tons of leaves that are composted down and shredded into this really, really nice compost.
And I feel like something about how dark it is, almost like dark chocolate. It looks like something about that looks more beneficial to me.
After you stack up leaves for a long time in your yard, a couple of years pass, and you lift up and spread that across, or spread it open, you can see that a lot of what's beneath the leaves actually looks like this. They're just able, through composting, to do it a lot quicker, but we can do it in our own yards over a long period of time, and it's very easy to do.
Lovely. Okay, so cost effective, we've already talked about that, retains moisture. Let's make sure we talk a little bit about composting, because I think the idea of starting composting can be a little bit of a hurdle for some folks.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that composting is something that could be really beneficial here.
Yeah. So if you have a compost pile, this is leaves, live oaks drop a ton of leaves. We have a ton of leaves on our lawns. It's a really great way to add mass to that compost pile, especially if your kitchen scraps aren't really filling up the compost
Not
boxes.
enough coffee grounds to get you through.
Exactly. This is a great way to add just mass to that and give yourself overall just more mass in general for your compost. So it's really beneficial if you're a composter. If not, you can throw them into the city compost if you have one of those bins. It's a really great way to just keep it going. You don't want to throw them in the trash. You want to keep the organic material going and feeding the ecosystem as much as you can.
Okay, well, this makes it seem really easy. Keep these suckers.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, Xander, thank you so much. I always learn something from you.
Absolutely.
We appreciate it. For more tips, you can visit the Plant Pros in person on Bee Caves Road or online, bartonspringsnursery.com.